Ron Hitler-Brassi from TISM. We'll be taking you through the next 3 hours. We apologise straight away for our lateness. We were standing at the tram stop at the corner of Heatherton and Springvale Road in South Springvale. We actually thought that the only way a RRR DJ was able to get to RRR was via a tram. And the tram at the corner of Heatherton Road and Springvale Road is quite inconsistent. Inconsistent to the point of non-existence. After a futile 4 hours waiting for that tram, we had to get into our Tiranas and come in all the way into the inner city. And I'm not sure if RRR listeners know anything at all about the inner city. It's a strange beast. It's full of weird left-hand turns, strange rules when a tram is stopping, and lesbians. RRR listeners, we are here to take you through 3 hours of heterosexual, non-lesbian, non-dance troupe, non-government funded Australian rock music. To start off, we thought we'd play a bit of Died Pretty. TISM actually played with Died Pretty at the very first Livid Festival in Brisbane. Died Pretty at the time were a marvellous band with Ronnie Pino up front. I remember seeing him backstage with a beetroot red face and his slightly greying temples, exhausted and yet exhilarated by the power and glory that was Died Pretty's music. What I want to concentrate on, however, was the state of the toilets at the Livid Festival. Dante himself could not describe the sort of filthy ordure that permeated the air when one sat on that disgusting abattoir, with the fecal matter splattered, almost coalescing in the air. One could feel the grainy, sweaty nature of that fecal stench deep inside one's innermost recesses. We will never play the Livid Festival again. The only reason for that is TISM are no good. Hello? Hello, you there? Hello? No, come back. Come back. Oh, good. Hi, it's Humphrey B. Flaubert here. You're actually listening to Mackenzie Theory. Now, can you believe that the lead guitarist of this band got a government grant? It's true. That's what this show's all about, government grant music. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there who thought it was the Dirty Three and immediately got their coat and decided to go down to the pub, so we're left with a couple of listeners, but nevertheless, I'll pursue. Tonight's show is going to be probably pushing the boundaries somewhat of radio as we know, and we decided that we get some really big guests in because this is an Australian music show, and you know, it's time to showcase some of the greats of Australian music. So apart from playing some TISM, which we are contractually bound to do, we're going to be talking to, for instance, Bernard Fanning from Powderfinger. We'll be chatting to Kylie Minogue, and hopefully Nick Cave will be popping in on his way to Brazil for a quick chat. So it's going to be an action-packed show, and I promise that at no stage during the course of this evening will I speak like this, enunciating my words, and I won't say it's 25 to the hour of 7, which is what every other fucker on this station does. Okay, fade up that Mackenzie Theory, please. Humphrey, Mackenzie Theory, there's been a lot of good theories, of course. There's been Einstein's theory and Archimedes' theory. There was Marx's theory of capital, but I think you've got probably the best theory in Oz rock at the moment. Yeah, I reckon calling your band Something Theory is just fantastic. You know, I reckon Shannon Knoll Theory has a nice ring to it. Yeah, Jet Theory. Yeah, I actually saw this band live at my big sister's high school social. Now, can you imagine people trying to dance to this music? Well, they were. You were. You're an arcane man, and
a recondite connoisseur of the subtle interlaces in the great kaleidoscope of Oz rock. Now, Mackenzie theory obviously have been a great influence on you. What was Mackenzie's theory's genre?
Well, I guess, loosely, if you try to put it into sort of today's terminology, it'd be your sort of new progressive. But really, I think it's just great music to have a terrible punch up to, because it's true. When I was young, I saw a lot of people had the shit beat out of them to Mackenzie theory, and it's an emotional thing for me, and I am getting quite emotional about it. So I think we should.
Whoa, rock and roll! Rock! That was marvellous, Humphrey. That was marvellous. Mackenzie theory, you can hear that applause still in the background. The Mackenzie theory, I can see, just like there's a new rock movement and rock and roll's back in, do you think there could be a new Mackenzie theory movement sweeping Oz rock?
I think the possibility is quite enticing, Ron. I think you can judge by Rob's later career moves after he got the government grant. He came back to Australia and unsuccessfully tried to start a band called Mackenzie's Menthoids. Why can't I get to the end of a sentence without the emotion taking over? Now, I think Australia wasn't ready at the time for Mackenzie's Menthoids, but I think they are today. And it's a sad thing. Now,
look, Humphrey.
Yes.
We've got some famous people coming in.
Yes,
no,
that's right.
I don't think we've got Mr.
Right. Here's the list. We're starting tonight with a chap called Bernard Fanning. He's a very nice man, apparently, and he is the lead singer of Powderfinger, and he's extremely rich.
When's he coming in?
I think he's coming in shortly, and it's time for us to play a track which is a very famous track of theirs.
Just before you do, Humphrey,
Yes.
the other people coming in, because I'm not sure if in the middle of that Mackenzie theory frenzy, people would have got your list there. So who else is coming in tonight between now and 10 o'clock?
Well, we're hoping to talk to Kylie Minogue, Nick Cave,
goes without saying,
and Philip Ruddock should be popping in.
Right.
And, we'll see how it goes. I mean, celebrities come and go here at Triple R, as you know. I believe that...
unlike this carpet that's been here for years.
Well, that's right. Frank Vitkovich should be popping in later on. I think he's in the lift at the moment. But, so, it's going to be a celebrity-stacked night, and if we just keep, bursting into tears at the thought of Mackenzie theory, well, we're not going to get anywhere. So, I think it's time to play this this seminal Powderfinger track. Stand by, listeners, because... And
coming out of this, we'll talk to...
we'll be
Mr.
talking
Fanning.
to Bernard Fanning, who is arriving as we speak in the limousine.
He's just finishing off that hooker.
That's right, yeah. He's a very big fan of rugby. So, over to Powderfinger now. I want you to enjoy this.
Ronnie Laborassi here, standing in for Neil at the Australian Music Show. We'll be here till 10 o'clock, and there's various very famous Australian music identities in tonight to share with us their love of Australian music. You just heard Powderfinger. We're very proud, very awed to have in the studio tonight Mr. Bernard Fanning.
Good evening, Ron.
Bernard, I have a reputation for asking the hard questions, so I just want to scotch the misogynist rumours. I've been seeing you on the recent Australian government advertising with the anti-violence against women, and your line, "I beat her and that's okay," I think has been misinterpreted. Sorry.
Well, look, Ron, I find that question is a little too close to the bone. You know, I mean, okay, I have been guilty of domestic violence on several occasions, but I think that, you know, like politics and sport shouldn't mix. I think, you know, rock music and several counts of grievous bodily harm don't, you know, I don't think you should be bringing it into it. I want to talk about the music.
No, I can see your point there. Look, on a completely unrelated topic, Wayne Carey, you've been hanging around with Wayne Carey and attending the Wayne Carey Bernard Fanning Memorial Men's Group. Apparently you're launching that men's group where men get in touch with their aggressive natures, because Wayne's a person who is too sensitive. And now I'm wondering, to join that Fanning Carey men's group, just exactly how disturbed does a man have to be?
Well, you know, people sort of think that I'm a rotten Nancy boy, but really I have an inner strength which comes from the fact that I was locked in a cupboard by my parents from the age of 4, and they fed me through a keyhole, and you know, I didn't emerge until I was 17, and that's why, you know, people like Wayne, who have a long history of abuse, they can relate to me, and I think I'm able to help him with his problems.
And yet, completely contradictorily, you've often complained about how nice people see you, yourself, and your band to be. Like, Powderfinger are the all-round good guys of Oz Rock, aren't they? I mean, if we put aside, and I agree, let's talk about the music, if we put aside the domestic violence, you are basically a bunch of really good guys, and you're all friends. Now, what's wrong with being seen in that light?
Well, I'm sick of it, Ron. I'm just absolutely sick to the back teeth of this business, of what nice guys we are. You know, people have been saying that we've got a lot of breaks in the music industry because we're really nice and everything. And, you know, I'm out the back spit roasting with the best of them, and I never get any credit for that, you know.
The Fanning
I'm
Carey...
a down-and-out racist. And, you know, where are the kudos, as it were, for that? You know, nice guy, schmice guy, I say, like fair income.
All right, look, Bernard, this has gone on too long, like many of your albums. There's just two things we've got to say to the listeners. First of all, the Fanning Carey Spit Roast night will be on. That's for family night, I think, Bernard.
Yes, that's right. We're having the the frozen chicken 10-pin bowling. And a mixed grill raffle.
And a spit roast after for the men and
That's
some
correct.
of the selected females. Only the ones that enjoy it. They mightn't enjoy it at the start, but they'll enjoy it by the end, I think, Bernard.
Well, that's right. And, you know, of course, as I've said many a time on, you know, if you read between the lines of my lyrics, the woman's place is in the home. That's really what Powderfinger's all about.
You really are quite dull. Listeners, coming up next is someone who I think, rather like Bernard, has been misinterpreted. This man is a beer-swilling truckie from Wagga. You know, there has been 3 times in his life when he ordered a vegetarian meal, and on all 3 occasions he asked for an animal to be slaughtered just out of principle. The man smokes like a chimney, drinks like a fish, and doesn't like faggots. And obviously, I think all Triple R listeners know that we're talking about the John Butler Trio. Ooh, ah, ooh, 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 ah, ooh, ah, ah.
Good evening, listeners. Humphrey B. Flabert here. That was Kidney Stones by the John Butler Trio. This is the show that brings you the absolute A-list of Australian rock, and I'm very, very, very proud to have the eponymous John Butler from the...
Wait! What are you calling me, mate?
Eponymous, John. It's like the John Butler Trio album, the John Butler Trio.
Johnny will do, mate.
Now, John...
Johnny will do,
Johnny,
mate.
Johnny.
Yeah.
You know, I I'm absolutely blown away by your new album.
Jesus,
I think
just don't bloody ask me how many members in the John Butler Trio. Bloody Patrick Donovan from The Age asked me that, and I had to bloody talk to the manager. How many guys in my stinking band? A couple of vegetarians. I've got to wear this bloody rope head. Do you think that's fun? Wearing this rope head on my head with all the nits and the muck coming out? I don't want to have this. I would prefer, you know, a good Aussie short back and sides. But the manager says, have the rope head, and you got to eat the lentils, vegetarian only. Jesus Christ, sometimes I think if it's worth it.
Now, John, you know, your music has been described as a return to the rootsy down-homeness of early Australian rock bands such as Chain and Home and Carson, but yet with a haunting modern, postmodernist, a soupçon of postmodernism. How do you react to that assertion?
Don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, let me put it another way. You know, there are traces in your music of Aeolian cadence, and your reference to some of the Delta bluesmen certainly shows a fondness for the Chicago style. Your bottleneck playing certainly moves in fifths and diminished sevenths in such a way, I think, that brings the listener to a new plane of consciousness.
What the fuck am I doing here? Could someone bring me a pie? I'm dying for some meat. Some raw meat. That's what I want, you eponymous bloody Nancy boy. I want, you know, John Butler Trio, the new album, you know what it's going to be? Cold chisel covers, mate. Cold chisel covers, vodka, and you know what it's going to be called? Meat is murder. I love it.
And do you refute the claim that your slightly sort of shark-toothed look is from filleting major record company executives?
No, that's true.
Well, with that, I think we better move on to our next track. This is from the Neighbours Christmas album. This song is called Interstellar Overdrive. Good evening, listeners. It's 2 minutes prior to the, or a priori, the hour of 8. And you're on Triple R.
Ron Hitler Barassi here.
And I'm Humphrey B. Flaubert.
We're from TISM. We're taking you through till 10 o'clock, and we're using the word a priori in a completely fallacious sense. Humphrey, it was wonderful, wasn't it, to have two of the greats of contemporary rock, Bernard and John, drop in. You know, TISM, we do hang around in those sort of circles. We've got a lot of friends in the rock industry, a lot of friends. And
I think tonight, after tonight's show, our, you know, friendship circle is going to become even wider. Some people think that TISM are merely a bunch of masked, semi-drunken gigglers who take cheap shots at their fellow rock industry personalities, and I think we've proven them wrong in this first hour. I think so. I mean, I think later on when we sit down with the program director of Triple R and very carefully analyse, you know, go through the tapes. And with Bernard's lawyer and John's lawyer, both of whom have called. I think that, you know, they'll feel that we have correctly targeted the demographic. You know, we've made the Triple R brand certainly have much more of a stronger identity. And, you know, that's what we're here for, really. I think Neil's in trouble. And Neil is in trouble, yeah. I mean, I know no one around here likes him. I mean, he gets the show because he's got a big record collection and everything. But he's not a popular man. No, the halitosis, I think, makes it very difficult for him. But he has got a fantastically large penis, and you know, not that matters or anything, but I do think that helps him in the tight negotiation situation. Look, just before we get on to the next track, I think it's possible on air now to appeal to Triple R management. We could make this a regular thing, once every 18 years, because that is the schedule. So in 2022, I think Triple R listeners could tune in, and I think we could well be back here. Yeah, I think there's every chance. I mean, and from here, who knows where? I think it could lead to a probably, or a career in commercial radio. Well, many people sitting in these seats, of course, have taken the bucks, haven't they? Right. I mean, we've got Coulda Beans, we've got the Nova crew. You know, Stephen Walker would have taken the bucks, but ain't no one offering. Yeah, and I think, you know, you need to, Karen Lang, you need to have a good hard look at yourself. I mean, you had the people from Sonic Youth in the studio again. Like, I think you need to get your stalking out of your system and just concentrate on the music, like we are tonight. You know, we're not taking cheap shots and bringing our own sort of sexual peccadillos into this arena. We're here because of the music, and I think people understand that.
And with Karen Ling, it's always restraining order this, restraining order that. Don't come within 50 yards. Remember when the fellow from what was his name? He's just made a little bit of a comeback. The Echo and the Bunnymen. He came out. Who was the lead fella there?
Ian McCulloch.
Oh my goodness gracious! He was in the High Court like that. He was hardly off tarmac before Karen had a restraining order slapped on her. From memory, but you know,
I think he's starting a band actually called McCulloch's Theory, but I could be wrong. Anyway, this sort of you know, meandering conversation, I think, is obviously breaking new ground for this station. I mean, you never ever hear announcers crapping on and on and on and on.
You can just put it to 102.7. You know you're not going to hear any voices, are you?
No.
It's wall to wall, 60s, 70s, golden oldies here.
I think you know, some of the things we could introduce to this program, which I really like in commercial radio, is the fact that they never back announce. They always pre-announce. You know, it's coming up in the next hour. So I'd like to say, listeners, coming up in the next hour, an aeroplane is going to smash into the side of this building, and we're all going to die. And also jet.
Oh my goodness! Well, you mean a jet aeroplane, or no? I won't go there. What's the theory there, Humphrey? Why do they fall?
Why don't they back announce?
Yes.
Well, I think it's due to the massive intake of elephant juice, you know, that happens in their program from this, and complete loss of short-term memory.
We might try a bit of commercial radio later on, I think. We've bought in our own personalised radio, and we're just going to hold it up to the mic, and we'll just see if we can get a commercial radio signal through the hallowed microphones of Triple R.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. I mean, I think the people who are listening tonight, really, they want everyone else to think that they're listening to this show, but really they'd like to know what's going on commercial radio.
Triple R listeners, I think for too long, they're sour grapes listeners. They want to drag everyone down to their level. You know, Triple R presenters have gone on to bigger, better things. They've got the bucks, they're getting the chicks, they've got the cocaine. You know, and it's time that Triple R listeners experience commercial radio through this microphone, through these airways. And I think, you know, they can see that commercial radio isn't the capitalist entropic force that they think it is. It's something that is acceptable, palatable, you know, and completely in accordance with hardcore leftist Maoist principles.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, the way the chap in Nickelback says, I like you with your pants around your feet, and you know, here's my gland's penis.
It's marvellous imagery.
You know, as I've said on many occasions, you know, he has a little known disease with his colon, and you can tell that when he plays the guitar. It's a little like my dog. I took my dog to the park the other day, and she was unable to force out the final stool, and it reminded me. It's poo jokes. I'm sorry. Look, it's time to play a TISM song. This song has no reference to poo in it. I know that's not going to silence our critics, who think that's all we ever think about. But well, there's nothing I can do about that. This is a song which features some football guy, and we're playing at some football thing on Sunday called the Community Cup. It's all very good cause and stuff, and we're supposed to plug it, so that's what I'm doing. But really, I'm sick of life. So let's play a track.
Ronnie Barassi and Humphrey Beeple here in Triple R. It's the Australian Music Hour. We just had Lobby Lloyd, and there's only 8 minutes of Lobby left. We have a connection with Lobby Lloyd, of course. Lobby was one of our very first sound mixers. He was completely deaf at the time and only had one tooth. whilst Lobby is playing in the background, there is a very, very special person. I am slightly embarrassed because he keeps writing songs about us. But he has actually given us a very, very, very special tape. Both Nick Cave and the Dirty Three are, of course, insulin dependent. We've been backstage with those people whilst they've been injecting the insulin, and for an insulin-dependent set of artists, this is one of their most marvellous achievements. One can talk about 16th century Dutch painting and the renaissance of French provincial art in the late 1800s. One can talk about the New Romantic movement and the response against industrialisation in early English post-industrialist art, and one can also talk about the Italian Futurists. And if one did talk about that, one would just be raving. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Cave and the Dirty Three. Now, one of the great unacknowledged skills of the rock movement is the drum solo. It's a marvellous expression of true musical talent. And ladies and gentlemen, the Kevin Borich drum solo.
I get sick. On air. Oh, not often.
You're listening to Triple R.
Ron Hitler Barassi
And Humphrey B. Flaubert.
here on Triple R, and we've got another hour and 15 minutes of this. So if you're thinking of having a car crash somewhere in the city, I would do so and ring us up and tell us so we can do a real traffic report. Humphrey, what a marvellous remix, what a marvellous interpretation of Pete Murray.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. I felt that Pete Murray really needs to, we need to sort of reapproach Pete Murray's his oeuvre, and I think I've achieved a certain, I think Pete would be happy with that remix, because really, the evilness, the sort of the unease the kind of bowel-curdling unease of Pete Murray's songs doesn't come out on the actual commercial versions.
Even his name, isn't it? Like Pete Murray. There's a demonic nature of that.
Well, there is, yeah.
You know, like Etep, which is Pete backwards, Etep Murray, has a sort of satanic miasma that takes the listener into an otherworldly universe that is disturbing in a Pinterest fold.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, if you actually look at that song, he's talking about standing in the backyard thinking about the female protagonist. What he's not saying is that, you know, he is with his friends in their coven dancing around a goat's head, you know, while shaving their genitals with a cheese grater.
I think Pete's annoyed about the fact that, is annoyed about the fact that his work has been misinterpreted. You know, he seems to be seen as a sensitive soul, as a man of some sort of poetic sensibility, and in fact he's a raving, animal sacrificing, midnight dancing, satanic.
Oh, absolutely, he is
cultist.
You know, he's the Dr. John the Night Tripper of Adelaide rock, of the Adelaide rock scene. I mean, he's been through more virgins than he's been through them like a hot bloody vindaloo, I can tell you. So you know, Pete, big shout outs to you, Pete. You're the kind of rock star that I always wanted to be, but I was just too cowardly and you know, inept.
Yeah, and in 18 months' time, back to the geography teaching, Pete. Now, Humphrey, the Dirty Three have long been a favourite of TISM. Now, I've often wanted to ask someone this question: how many members in the Dirty Three?
Well, I'm not sure, but I suspect that there are no members in the Dirty Three.
Or in fact, they're all members of the Dirty Three. Maybe we are all members of the Dirty Three in some sense, in a completely what a rat shit sentence sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I personally am hallucinating now as a result of that
Humphrey,
sentence.
I do remember, I can't quite remember the gig, I think it was in Adelaide, where we had a member, the drummer of the Dirty Three, actually helped TISM on stage. I'm not sure if you remember this, where we had one of our very worst gimmick ideas where we poked fake heads through a towel, through a screen, and the fake heads fell off and water spurted out. It was a very, very poor song that we led with, Sex Tonight, and we couldn't find anyone to hold up the other end of that towel, and it was that nice boy, the drummer from the Dirty Three. He was polite, he was well spoken, he knew a lot about geography and current affairs. I don't know why people see the Dirty Three as this sort of radical, avant-garde, insular, independent band.
No, not at all. I mean, just the fact that we couldn't get in our band room because him and his mate Nick Cave were doing something or other with their arms doesn't necessarily mean that they, you know, lead this kind of lifestyle that people attribute to them.
Diabetics these days can live a rich and fulfilling life.
Well, they can. And, you know, the Dirty Three are obviously a great example of that. And I think it's a misnomer, really, Dirty Three. I mean, they are one of the cleanest bands that I've come across. I mean, they wash their hands at least 3 times before the start of every song. In fact, I think there's an obsessive compulsive disorder
very much so
in this band, and you know, you'll be able to hear this very shortly coming through in my remix.
Like when we were playing with them in that gig, Warren and his attitude to his violin strings it's quite something to see, isn't it? It's like Jack Nicholson in that film, you know, like the way he cleans the catgut on the violin strings. And isn't it marvellous? I mean, I think just like the favourite part of a porn movie for me is the in-between sex bits when they're explaining the plot, the favourite part of a Dirty Three gig is when Warren talks. Isn't it marvellous, the sort of stream of consciousness stuff that Warren says during a Dirty Three gig? Things like, when he came out with, I remember seeing them once up there in Greville Street, and he came out with, car D74484, you've left your lights on. And
it's just amazing, isn't it?
Really, really good. I think Ginsberg himself would be pleased with that. Other things, I remember when Warren very briefly got the gig as the guy making the announcement at Telstra Stadium. You know, do you remember that? That was marvellous.
I do, yeah.
Wasn't it?
That was a veiled reference, of course, to Orson Welles' classic Carry On Up the Khyber, which dealt with car park problems.
Yes, yes.
You know, much as his other movie, The Third Man, dealt with, you know, fielding on the fence.
Of course, the problem with Orson. Now we've often had Humphrey TISM's new DVDs by Antonioni, and we've been the sort of people that are very much into cinema. We've actually got something coming up with the Australian Centre of the Moving Image, and what a well-run institution that is. Now, we've had a long-standing objection to Citizen Kane, and I think it's time that the movie aficionados out there understood what was wrong with Citizen Kane and what makes it such a poor film, and that was the complete lack of knocker. We have Porky's, we have American Pie, we have many classy American movies.
I think there was a movie on actually the other night, you know, it was one of Wim Wenders', Blame It on Rio,
yes,
featuring Michael Caine and this underage girl with a frightening pair of breasts. Now, you know, Wim Wenders is an underrated filmmaker. You know, people think just because he hung out with Nick Cave and stuff that he was some kind of arty ponce. But
very wrong.
You know, the guy knows how to take an out-of-work actor and fuck up his career by putting him in a porn farce. And I respect him for that.
Vim knows how to. I think there's a certain profile of the female breast. You know, when the breast goes down, and then there's the nipple, and there's the underside of the breast. And I think when Vim says to his lead actress, some poor French girl who's 17-year-old, in his very Vim-like accent, so I won't do the accent, but he says, we need to make the mise-en-scène of this shot a provocative reinterpretation of Eisenstein's Battle Poltolkum. And what's missing here is not so much the cinematography arcing back to both film noir and the more gritty reality of your 40s flicks. What's missing here is that you need to take your top off, honey. I think when Vim says that word, take your top off, honey, that's when he's real genius as a director. Polanski had a bit of take your top off, honey, too, didn't he?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and he went to jail for it. Vim, of course, had that style, you know, that kind of, he was one of the great Baltic area filmmakers.
Marvellous.
Who could sort of turn a little, you know, a bit of a sort of a certain stick film nuance into something truly artistic. Unfortunately, Vim wrecked his career, you know, by attempting to chase the dragon with a can of Vim, because he, you know, in his sort of LSD crazed brain, he thought that all laundry cleaning products were named after him.
Vim, you know, no one can ignore the fact that his name's alliterative, and that's very important to a director. Nonetheless, I think that Wayne Carey could take the Take Your Top Off, Honey film theory and do something with it. I think the Australian Centre of the Moving Image could have a Wayne Carey festival myself. We could call it Grow a Bigger Set of Tits. That sort of thing.
Yeah, he needs to change his name to Vim Carey.
Yeah,
so
Vim
I think,
Carey, Vim. Or,
Or Peter Carey, perhaps.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
Oh,
and
sorry.
Or Wayne Wary. You know, you need something. Something alliterative.
Vane Vary. I think that it's an opportune moment to talk about the TISM short film competition.
I want to talk about more the Wayne Wary ACMI thing, because, you know, in the toilet, you could actually have on the toilet door property of Glenn Archer, and then, you know, we could all gather round the toilet door, and that's where the real action happens, at the Wayne Wary competition.
Well, if you're sitting out there at the moment and you're not actually contacting your lawyers or getting the TISM effigy burning, perhaps you might be interested in this, making a short film, because TISM are such incredibly parsimonious fucks that we can't be bothered making one ourselves. But here's your chance to be, you know, I suppose slightly more famous than the hand model in
the fluffer.
Yeah,
the Wim Wenders fluffer.
That's right. In Wim Wenders' Carry On Up the Khyber 38. Anyway, make a short film for Everyone's Had More Sex Than Me, which is one of the tracks off our incredible 3 triple disc release, the White Album. You can follow the competition link on www.madman.com.au/TISM. Download the track and get to work. And if your film clip is good enough, crikeys, what can you win?
The criteria for judging, Humphrey?
Well, I suppose it's got to be sort of good.
I think that they should use both the story and production elements evident in every movie text, both the use of character, setting, mise-en-scène, lighting, acting, and taking into consideration all the associations an actor might bring to the role, editing and the association of image and sound, sound and image, and basically there needs to be someone with their top off.
And I think that, in Otto e Mezzo, which of course is Fellini's great masterpiece.
Oh, sorry, I thought I ordered that last night.
Yeah, the use of black and white, Fellini referred to that as a reference to the fact that many people dream in black and white. And, these are the sort of, I think this is the kind of history that one needs to take on board when making a film clip for a band like TISM, because, as you can see by this program, we're an extremely highbrow unit. And, we're not about to make cheap jokes at the expense of other people. So keep that in mind, and what you could win, well, it's boundless. But in fact, what you would win is over $3,500 asterisk in prizes up for grabs. Now, that asterisk is conditions apply. The conditions apply are as follows. You need to be between the ages of 17 and 17 and live in a Baltic country. No, actually, that's a lie. Anyone can win.
Humphrey, Shannon Noel's been a very great influence on our work.
Well, he has. Yeah.
And we think that Shannon can't make it in tonight. He's too busy eating breakfast off a hooker's tits. Nonetheless, we thought that we would do a slight remix of Shannon Noel. And I know that Triple R listeners are very interested in this. We'll play a bit of Shannon Noel, and then we'll try and get a bit of Triple M over the Triple R airways.
Is that the words proposed be administered by the question?
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
for New England.
You are listening to Triple R. And simultaneously, you are listening to Parliamentary Radio. Can you get your head around the incredible semantic possibilities of this? You are listening to 2 stations at once. I mean, I know I spend several hours trying to get the dial on my radio just halfway between 2 stations. But I don't want to enter into that.
Marvellous, really marvellous. Now, there is only one other radio station with more lesbians on it than Triple R, and that's, of course, Radio National. And let's just see if Philip Adams is talking to the lovies.
Love with me, which isn't very realist.
Yes, we've got Philip Adams here, and he's actually playing guitar. Isn't that a marvellous treat for the Triple R listeners? We might have to rip that off for our next album.
Yes, I think so. Just need to get one of those sort of polo neck skivvies and hide a few Moroccan boys up it.
Now, of course, there is the latest people on the FM block, the Nova crew. Now, I don't think that the Triple R Trotskys that are now doing breakfast radio for Nova, who've taken the bucks, that stabbed this radio station in the back. This is the station that gave them the leg up. This station was the Jerker Jenkins to their Jezza, and they gave a nominal donation apparently. The Triple R subscriber-thon there, and you know what they gave? 30 pieces of silver, because Kate and Dave and Husey have taken the money and they've run. And what I like about Nova is the way they presented themselves as the new boys on the Triple M, Triple J sort of block, and it's the same set of bullneck real estate agents running it, from what I understand, Humphrey.
Yeah, I mean, Christ, I'm jealous of those guys on the breakfast team. I mean, they earn a huge amount of money, and really, it's just all about Kate Langbrook saying, I went to the milk bar the other day and everyone laughs really loud. I mean, geez.
Let's see what's going on at Nova right now.
Well, this sounds very much like your sort of postmodernist American power pop unit. You know, a soupçon of Weezer. You know, the barest hint of Fountains of Wayne. Absolutely generic, and I wish that they would all be killed very slowly.
There is one Australian artist, of course, Humphrey, excuse me, there I had Indian. There is one Australian artist who we've come to admire. She's courageous. She's had a battle against Hodgkin's disease. Unfortunately, she's won that battle. And unlike a lot of other Australian teen pop idols, she writes her own songs. Yes, it's an horrific element about her, and you know, I think if you've been on a show like Neighbours, you should sort of take a leaf out of Kylie's book. You know, Kylie knew how to do it right. She knew how to sleep with the right kind of indie cred rock musicians, whereas she doesn't bother writing her own songs. Exactly, whereas Delta, the whole time, the poor girl was there diligently doing her geography homework, and after she'd completed the assignment on cumulus clouds, she was practicing the piano. And what do we get? A whole album full of facile adolescent girl rubbish that she can proudly proclaim as her own. What I think about Delta is the fact she writes her songs makes it worse, doesn't it, in fact, Humphrey? Oh, absolutely, and, you know, look where it's got her. A brief fling with Jude the Obscure Bolton, and now she's, you know, doing the nasty with that tennis player. It's frightening stuff. See what writing your own songs does to you people out there? I reckon Mark Philippoussis, who obviously is a man of great intellectual depth, and Delta, can you imagine their conversations? That'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? Because Mark's got a very low opinion of himself, you can tell. And I think their household would be a very reasonable one. You know, I think there'd be a lot of give and take. There'd be a lot of sort of, you know, I was going to do some piano practice tonight, but, you know, you want to go to the movies? Sure. Or alternately, you know, I've got my period. Do you mind, you know, sort of not going out to practice hitting balls? You know, I reckon a lot of that had happened, because those two are really down to earth. So if we just do a bit of role play, and I'd be Mark, and you could be Delta, I'd go something along the lines of, that second serve was in. Oh, fuck off, you slack mole. Oh, hang on, which one am I? No, I'm not going to do any more role play. I'm not getting a grant for this. Now, Delta Goodrum's re-released her single. It's a marvellous reinterpretation, and even though we have just given Triple R listeners a taste of commercial radio, ladies and gentlemen, Delta Goodrum's new single.
Am I saying something now? What is it exactly that I'm saying, gentlemen?
Max, we've often modelled ourselves on your musical integrity.
A bit slower.
Your sense of blues and roots history, and I think that's why you're a very big TISM fan, because we've got. And Max, you know, of course, that your show starts at in 36 minutes.
Well, one hopes that it will commence in 35 minutes, yes.
And nonetheless, you're about to announce a very exciting competition that will run for the next 35 minutes.
Correct. And you'll be able to give the details about the running and the organisation and the actual idea of the competition in one moment. But I can tell the listener and the TISM fan out there that if they happen to take this particular prize off, could you do that again, Flaubert? They'll take off a copy of the brand new DVD White album. That's a two DVD pack and the full-length album, a special pack. A double pass to the gig.
Not like you to stumble, man.
No, shut up. Hi-fi bar, double pass to the gig, a signed poster from you bastards, and a T-shirt.
Sorry, Humphrey, I thought we had the unflappable Max Crawdaddy, the man that's the complete professional, the man that's...
I'm a rock.
Whose dulcet and bass tones have been on these airways for nearly 2 decades, and yet what we get here is this shimmering mess.
What about the leg?
Oh,
what about the leg?
Yes, he's got an injury, and
I'm on medication.
Caused him to be unable to use his crack pipe, and I think that that may well have affected his style. But you know,
I'm disadvantaged.
Furthermore,
nice to see you guys. And what is it? Fox and Triple M all booked up tonight, are they, boys?
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously on the A-list, Max, and that's just, you know, why we're here. But, so listeners, you can ring in now. I use the plural form of the word listeners with a certain amount of pathetic hope. But nevertheless.
And the best question of TISM wins the prize, 9419.
Now, what is it again? Sorry there, Ronald.
They get our new product. It's the DVD, which comprises of 3 discs. One disc is a film by Antonioni, which is us live. The second disc is a complete new studio album, which is only available on this package. And the third disc is some recondite TISM history, which actually, Max, you appear on. That's marvellous, isn't it?
I remember that.
Just gone to NASA.
We have. Houston, we have a problem.
That's marvellous. Now, the chisels have been part of your long history here, Max. You've often played the chisels in your
True. If it
program.
wasn't for me, Jimmy Barnes wouldn't be where he is today.
Max, have you ever seen anyone had the shit beat out of them during a performance by the chisels?
No, it was Midnight Oil.
Oh, yeah.
And Australian Crawl. The Pia Hotel car park.
Oh, lovely.
Yes. Nothing but the best.
You're a boy down there from Frankston way, aren't you, Max?
Correct.
Is that
Frankston
right?
boy done good, as I read once in the
Baxter,
paper.
is that right?
No, it's a
Not quite
bit
that
more
south.
upmarket.
Yes, please.
Right near Patterson Lakes on the freeway there. Is that what turn off would you go off to go home to visit your parents? There,
It's
Max?
the Toorak side of Seaford.
Now, I think this
What's the gist of the competition again?
the
What are they ringing in for? Not the prizes.
The
but
very
what's
best
the actual...
TISM question, which is judged by you.
Oh.
The very best TISM question in the next 32 minutes before your show starts. And you're going to play some sort of blues track from 1936, some stupid sharecropper who couldn't actually pick the cotton properly, and so he had to pick up a guitar and learn how to do it, and you know exactly how he tuned his E string to the F-flat major diminished 7th.
Correct.
You're going to talk about it for about 25 minutes, and your stuff today, because we've lost all your listeners early. You'll be judging that competition, and we have got a cold chisel track. I bet you weren't expecting that.
No, I can't possibly take much more of that. Absolutely no way. But we can get on the blower and talk to the first victim. And what is your name?
John.
Jono, what is your question?
I just wanted to know if Shane Crawford was going to be getting any of his royalties now that he's been mentioned in one of their songs.
He has to play a good game first, Jono. Now, Jono, what is your guess about where Shane Crawford should play in the Hawthorn lineup?
I reckon he should play Orange Boy.
Orange Boy's good. Well, we seem to lost, John. Caller number 2, what is your name?
Michael.
Michael, what is your question to the wondrous TISM gents?
I'd like to know how many roads must a man walk down?
Isn't that marvellous?
That's a sensational question.
What was your name again?
Michael. Michael?
No, my name's Jenny.
Oh, sorry, Jenny. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Jenny, do you know that you're ringing TISM and not Powderfinger?
No, I'm ringing TISM.
Jenny,
I did like the impersonation of Powderfinger, though.
I can tell that your gender is of the female gender, and I don't understand why you'd be ringing TISM. We've never seen a female person at our gigs. No female person's ever liked this band, and no female person's ever rung us ever before on Talkback.
I'm very strange.
I'm assuming you're naked?
No, but you can assume that if you wish.
You can put your clothes over there on top of mine.
Okay, no problem.
Jenny, is your radio anywhere in the vicinity?
Look, my husband's listening to it. My husband is a huge fan.
Okay.
Which is why I'm a fan, but I've gone out of the room and I'm in the other room now.
Well, I'd like you to go back into the room. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Get a bit of feedback.
I want you to get as close to the radio as you can and turn it up.
Oh, you're kidding. Do you
Yeah,
really
yeah,
want
do
to?
that.
But
Yep.
then I look like the dumb chick.
No,
No, you're
not at
a
all.
genius.
No, I want to see what, what kind of psychedelic possibilities there may be
And Jenny,
if you get really close to the
So
radio.
let's just get the listeners completely across what's happening here. Jenny is going to talk whilst her phone is near the radio, and at the same time I'm going to hold up the radio I've got in my hand of that action happening into this radio microphone. Jenny, are you near your radio?
Hang on, I don't think we should do
Turn
this.
the volume down. So should I?
Turn your volume up.
Volume up on
Volume
the
up,
radio.
Jenny.
Okay, here we go.
And
Nice
then we
and
want
loud.
now, Jenny, are you listening to me?
Dudley.
Yeah, okay, ready? And then on the count of 3, I'm going to put my radio up.
Oh my God.
And here we go. Put your phone near the radio. Here we go.
Okay. Now, so, well, it's just static, really, isn't it?
But it's feedback static.
Are you vacuuming, Jenny?
No.
Oh, sorry about that.
You're the girl, you should be.
Nice line there.
Jenny,
Rod.
what's your question?
Please.
Hello.
Oh, Jenny's called in the cavalry. Next.
Is that the big man?
Oh, is it me?
No,
Yeah, it's you, mate.
Yep.
I just want to know what sort of poor excuse is this for a competition?
Well, what else do you think they're going to? Do you think they're going to work this out in the car this morning or a week ago?
Yeah, I don't know.
Possibly on the way here in the car. I think they thought of this idea.
I haven't got your name, mate. What's your name?
Andrew.
Andrew, where do you live?
In Elwood, I'm one of those young...
You live in Elwood?
yeah.
Do you get the tram to work?
No, I don't actually drive.
And where do you work, mate?
In South Bank.
You reckon this is interesting, do you? Talking about this stuff.
I don't know, you're asking the question.
And our next caller is... That's you. Speak. Steve-O?
Yeah.
What is your question, sir?
My question would be, I'm hungover and had fish and chips for lunch, and my girlfriend wants to know what I can do about my flatulence issues now.
You got matches?
Got a lighter.
Well, night's entertainment. Throw the videos away, the DVDs, forget about it.
Humphrey, we've never had girlfriends, and probably Steve-O's ringing the wrong band.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I once went to a blue light disco. Is that somehow relevant?
Steve-O, I reckon you should do what the lead singer of the Whitlam does, and that's he actually stalks his girlfriends until they get restraining orders. Yeah, and then he appears on the Australian government ads and says that violence against women is wrong. Are you writing this down, Steve-O?
I am every word.
Right. And then after that, he appears in court. Are you writing this down, Steve-O?
I am.
Right. Have you got your crayon there?
No, I was actually using mascara.
Excellent. And then after he appears in court, he goes to jail for 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
Right. And then he gets addicted to anal rape.
Yeah.
Problem solved, Steve-O. Now, talking of the Whitlams, we have got a Whitlams track lined up here, and it's a marvellous track. It's track number 11. And the Whitlams are a very seminal influence on us.
Well, they are a seminal influence on us. I mean, not many people know this, but Tim Friedman actually has a dual penis. And I know this because I happenstance, as it were, backstage to Big Day Out. And he had 2 reporters from the major broadsheet papers filleting him simultaneously. And, you know, I kind of looked at him and thought, well, I can understand now why you write such awful songs, because you don't need to worry, really, do you? I mean, with 2 penises, like Kevin Twin Cock Borage, the music no longer matters.
Marvellous. And there's Stephen's girlfriend.
It is.
Stephen, what I should do to solve this problem is sit there, get in touch with your feminine side, because obviously it's the closest you're going to get to a feminine side in a little while, and listen to the Whitlams track.
A track there from the brand new TISM record? Oh, no, I'm sorry.
That's wrong, Mac.
Yes, I know.
The only time you've been wrong in 20 years. Now, we've got another talkback caller there for us, Jonathan. Who are we talking to?
Ben.
G'day, Ben. Now, Ben, did you go to Sunbury?
No.
No.
Try and avoid it if I can.
Okay. Are you aware of the Sunbury Rock Festival that was held in 1973?
Yeah.
Okay, now what we're going to do here, Ben, is something that is technically quite difficult, but I think you're up to it, Ben. We're actually going to cross live to Humphrey Beetle who is actually at Sunbury in 1973, and I think we've got Sunbury on the line now. And let's just see, Ben, just stay with us, Ben.
Tense back a bit. First off, I'd like you to put your hands together for the first group, starting here at Sunbury.
Ben, we have got Sunbury on the line, and Humphrey Beetle is in Sunbury at 1973. And Ben, I want you to ask Humphrey Beetle a question.
Hello, Humphrey. What's the name
of your... It's really rocking here, mate. I tell you, it's a little loud, and there's a fence. I'm up against the fence, but I tell you what, there's a lot of chicks with the tops off, and I'm having a rock
good time. I have a feeling, though, Ben, that the opposition may block supply in a couple of years. But that's just the word on the street. What's the question, Ben?
My question is, what time's the band that TISM were before they were TISM playing at Sunbury in 1973? I'll try and
Sorry,
make
mate, I'm not sure if that's the question there, but I can tell you that Mackenzie Theory are up on the main stage next. I have to say, though, that this rock festival stuff's got fucking knobs on it, mate. I would hope that this will be the last one. I know that, Queen are scheduled to appear in a couple of years, but I really hope they knock this on the head, and if anyone brings it back, I'd like their fingernails pulled out. Anyway, Ben, here I am at Sunbury. I'm just going to have a very enormous split. And anything else you'd like to ask me, sir?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head, although you lied before when you said you don't have videos. I have the, which lives up to its name, the Shoddy and Paw.
Ah, you're a smart ass,
Remember that classic? I may be the only person that owns it that isn't in the band, I think.
I don't know, Ben. Look, from where I'm standing, mate, you're talking about as slowly as the people I met down here at the hot dog stall. I was standing next to this guy. He had a slice of ham and pineapple pizza, which is very classy food. There's not many pizza restaurants that I've been to, although there is a Chinese. I like Chinese, Ben.
Humphrey, can you hear me, Humphrey?
Yes, I can hear you.
Humphrey, can you see Judy Morosi there?
Well, I was standing around with this old bloke who, he's got young hair and an old face.
Right.
He's trying to peddle his book.
He's got a book under his arm, has he?
Yeah.
Is he in front of the boys' toilet?
No. That's actually Frank Crean.
Humphrey, you're there. It's 1973, and your tip for the grand final that year?
Well, I actually reckon that what Richmond needs to do is take out Nichols and Southby, and I reckon they're in with a big show.
Yeah, I reckon Laurie Fowler might be the guy for the job there.
Yeah, he could be, and of course, not to underestimate Neil Barb, who I reckon's going to go on to a really crap career in coaching.
Yeah. And now,
I think
Humphrey...
you should get down to footy bet.
Who the fuck was that? Humphrey, finally, we have a band called Skyhooks. I think they're about to come on here at Sunbury. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, they're never going to go anywhere for mine, Ron.
It's all that mascara, I think?
Yeah, that's really outdated. I mean, anyone comes up with that shit. I think really what we need is a band who wears masks.
Marvellous. And I think Australia's calling out for the band. Humphrey, thank you very much, live from Sunbury.
Thank you very much, Ron. I'm just going to go and get sucked off by a girl from Morty Alex. Tonight.
Track from the brand new Whitlam's album there. Oh, no, sorry. That's actually a track from the brand new...
Curse.
TISM.
The Curse, yeah. Oh.
TISM.
This is bullshit.
It's one of your lines, no doubt. Ron Hitler Barassi and Humphrey B. Flaubert and Jonathan Ellie Penley. Thank you, Jono. In here with Max, and I'm on air, thank God, in about 12 minutes. But we're in the middle of a competition, a phone-in, and there's still a couple of more people on the line. 94192066. Give us a question for TISM, and you might win a copy of the brand new album, DVD pack, double pass to the gig on the 3rd of July at the Hi-Fi Bar. Signed poster of TISM and a TISM T-shirt. What is your name?
I'm Elliot.
What was that, sorry?
Elliot.
Elliot?
Yes.
What is your question?
Well, my question is a very striking question for TISM. I'm very curious because it's been quite fashionable lately for rock stars to promote that their illness for promoting a new album, like Delta Goodrem had Hodgkin's disease.
Good point.
Craig Nichols from the Vines had Tourette's because his mouth was always spouting shit. Brenda Johns had the eating disorder. Holly Valance used to think that she had talent. I was just wondering what illness TISM said
nice
they
call.
would have to maybe promote their album, maybe a little bit better than the last one.
Elliot, I think, unlike us, you've clearly been working on that for several weeks. I mean, you've got a real plan there, and your question had both light and shade. It had a lovely climax. a beautiful J curve in the middle. It was both funny and yet just slightly self-effacing.
There's no way Elliot will win this.
No, he's fun.
His gender is all wrong, I think, Humphrey. I mean, we're looking for a girl to win this competition.
Any vacuous crap that you might have come out with would have been okay if you're a girl.
That girl on Big Brother at the moment, who's a special needs kid, Ashley or whatever her name is, you know, she is completely dumb. She didn't even know what Vietnam was, neither the war nor the country. Now, if she rang in and said any old thing, she'd win, Elliot, because she's got breasts and you haven't got breasts.
I'd shop my mates for her.
I do, but they're just not very attractive.
Yeah, see, there it is again, Elliot. Wit, humour, response, cleverness. That's not the sort of thing we're looking for. We find that very unattractive.
Okay.
And we'd like to appeal to any girls who might be listening. If you just call the number
949206.
Thank you, Max. And you're almost certain to win because the rest of the people on these lines are either clever people who are captain of the debating teams like Elliot or yobbo rugby players who are just off to a spit roast. So any girl who rings in will win the prize. What is the next call there?
Speak to us. That's you. Hello? Yes.
Hello?
Yes, you.
I'm still on hold from, I spoke to them earlier.
No, you're here now. You're with us.
I'm back again, am I?
This is Chilling Radio.
Oh, Big Ben.
Oh, it's Ben again.
Yeah, I was at Sunbury in 73. Don't you remember? It was a long time ago, I know.
It was a long time ago, Ben.
You know, can you remember when we were there outside the fence at Sunbury and...
Back before you had your mask.
Yeah, and Lobby Lloyd was great, wasn't he, mate?
All right, we should have a new caller here. Speak to us.
Yeah, g'day, it's Hamish.
Hamish?
Hamish.
Hit us with that question, Mr. Hamish.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you guys have a favourite tapas bar or trendy little nightclub around the intersection of Heatherton and Springvale Road.
Oh, that's a marvellous
That's a very good question, Hamish.
That's a marvellous question.
I like the cough button there. I'm just hitting that... hello, the cough button there. Sorry, can you understand my answer though, Hamish?
Oh, I can't hear you, mate.
My favourite tapas bar is
Humphrey, the thing about tapas bars is that they begin with a T, but they haven't got the vital ingredient that all tapas bars need, and that's the ending, which is aberray, as in tabaret. And that's what we've got there at the corner of Heatherton and Springvale Road at Tabaret. If tapas bars were open at, like, say, 4:30 in the morning, and instead of the Spanish cuisine, you had maybe lemon, orange, lemon, and then the next course was lemon, orange, lemon.
On a bed of cooks maybe.
That's exactly right, Hamish. And isn't it great that the way the experience of going to Tabaret is so like the ad? I mean, the people who make those ads for Tabarets are extremely into cinema verite, and it's
There's no smoky haze around it at all.
Exactly, it's a realistic sense of life, because what you see on the Tabaret ads is the old blokes with their emphysema and their oxygen mask spending the last 25 or 30 seconds on this earth, pushing that button. That's what you see on the...
With a bed-in slip in the hand.
Exactly. Now, Hamish, you're obviously very familiar with the corner of Heatherton and Springvale Roads.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I travel up and down there a bit.
Hamish, can you tell us your favourite tapas cuisine?
Oh.
Next caller, thank you. That's you?
Hey.
Yep, say hello. What's your name? What's your name?
Nick.
Nick?
Yep.
What is your question, sir?
Question is, how could TISM reinvent themselves to actually get some female fans?
I think they're trying now.
That's a marvellous question, Nick.
Just quietly.
Really marvellous question, Nick. Nick, you haven't got a sister at all?
No.
Right. Is your mother there?
No, sorry. Don't live at home anymore.
Next caller. That's you.
That must be me.
Excellent. What is your name, madam?
Pix.
Pix?
Yes.
Pix.
I think that may well be a nom de plume.
I think it's a bit of a thing,
Anyone
but we'll go with that.
Anyone who doesn't use their real name really is a charlatan and needs to be killed.
That's exactly right, Humphrey B. Flaubert. You're talking to Ron Hitler Barassi.
Yes, exactly.
Now,
how are you, Ron?
Thank you. Very well, thank you, Pix. Better to hear your wonderful voice. A relationship to the global conflict of the Cold War?
I can, but you probably wouldn't be interested in that.
Wrong answer, Pix. You should have said I have never heard of Vietnam, but Pix,
no, hang
it doesn't
on,
matter.
I haven't heard of it.
That's exactly right. Well done, Pix.
And my name might be Ashley.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's all right. I like Pics because it's redolent of a 70s magazine that I used to see when I was getting my head roughly shaven by the barber in Springvale Road, who was...
Corner of Springvale and Heatherton?
Near there, yeah. He used to listen to the races and, you know, barely concentrated on my head, and my mother forced me to sit in the chair despite the fact that I was in absolute fit of tears. But he used to have Pics magazine full of large-breasted Australian women wearing string bikinis. And for me, that was a very, you know, significant turning point. I know when the Who toured here, they had a bit of trouble with the local police, I think, and they were in a package tour with the Small Faces. You know that this is going somewhere, don't you, Pics? You've got that feeling that I'm going to lead it through to a beautiful conclusion. One of the members of the Small Faces, I think it was Ian McLagan, the keyboard player, said that all Australian women have big tits and broken noses. Now, what would you like to say to that, Pics? How do you answer Ian McLagan?
Well, you know, I've got a good chest, and I haven't had a broken nose, but I've had a broken cheekbone.
Oh, that's distressing.
Pics,
there you go.
You're clearly the competition winner. Pics, there's a certain romanticism and a certain sexual tension between us over the air, rather like Kylie and Nick, and that's track number 12. We're about to play a track that encapsulates all that's happening between us on air. Pics, make sure you hold on.
I will.
You will be winning this competition because we can't see you, so you might be a barker, but you're good enough.
Right on.
Another track from the fantastic brand new TISM album. Oh, sorry, no, that's not it, is it? Humphrey B. Flaubert and Ron Hitler Barassi. It's been an absolute challenge. It's been an absolute pleasure have you in the studio tonight, and congratulations to the lucky female listener. Apparently never seen the band live, pushed the wrong buttons, obviously thought she was phoning up one of our other, you know, real radio stations. But luckily for her, she's got a double pass and T-shirt and everything, all that sort of stuff. So all I can say is you guys are out of here.
I'd like to apologise. I don't think it's gone that well. I'd like to apologise for the periods of giggling. I'd like to apologise for the gradual slurring of the syllables amongst all of us. I'd like to apologise for the fairly lowbrow humour that's resulted. And I'd like to apologise in advance for saying that the station manager of RRR is closely involved with the Gangland murders recently and will be investigated by the Piranha Task Force.
There's been minor members of the Melbourne underworld that have had more hits than us, and you know, if we were a more successful band, we'd have Piranha up our arse, but they haven't actually called me at all, I don't think, Humphrey, and it's time now for you to hear Matt Crawdaddy, and he's going to put on a Chris Wilson track, Smoke a Joint, and take you through till 12 o'clock.